You can't just dive into a project without covering your bases. So before saying yes, here is my top 10 tips of what I would make sure to check off before saying yes. Because too many red flags, that is a hard no. First things first, always ask for a written brief. Clear, detailed brief will avoid any confusion about what is expected from you and what is expected from the client. Be sure to clarify what is included in the scope of the project so there are no surprises down the line. What's your responsibility? What's not your responsibility? If it's not in the brief, don't assume that it's part of the deal. Make sure that everything is written down to the last detail. Number 2, confirm the timelines, the deadlines, and your availability. I know this may seem obvious, but sometimes you may get caught up in the excitement of the project, and these details do get overlooked. Confirm when everything is due. First whips, major deadlines, and make sure that it fits within your schedule. Don't just say yes because you're excited and then you realize you're having to squeeze it in. That is not an ideal place to be in. If you are already swamped, don't overcommit. It's absolutely not worth it. This only leads to frustration and burnout. Now, let's talk about money. Always discuss the budget and payment terms up front before committing and saying yes to anything. You don't want to start working on something and then only down the line figure out that, oh, this is way below my budget. Make sure you agree upon the payment method and when you'll be paid. And again, get it in writing. If you are working with a team, who is your main point of contact? And you really only want to have one point of contact when it comes to signing off or final sign-off of the deliverables. You might be dealing with other people, but having one clear channel of communication is really going to help avoid confusion and multiple reverts and unnecessary changes that is just going to eat up your time and potentially give you a really bad experience. Number 5, clarify creative ownership, boundaries, and usage rights. On the outset, it's important to clarify the creative ownership, usage rights, where you can use the images, if you can use the images. Are you signing away everything? Are your images going to be used for print, digital, or other media? Whether it's a video, are you going to be a gun for hire? In other words, your name won't be associated with the project. These are all things that you want to know. Starting out, know what you're agreeing to, especially if it impacts your ability to share your work later. Number 6, make sure it fits with your current goals. Now, that may be financial, but let's focus on the creative goals. If the project doesn't pay well, help you grow your portfolio, or connect you with the right people, ask yourself, why are you doing it? Unless it's just for the money, but that's a whole other conversation. And I get that. I mean, at the end of the day, we have bills to pay, and some jobs you are going to have to take on purely to satisfy that. Do be strategic about where you invest your time. Number 7, check for conflicts of interest, exclusivity, and recent work with competitors. So be mindful of conflicts of interest. Now, I'm sure that, I've never really come across this, but let's say, for example, you've just done a shoot for a big brand like Coca-Cola, and then Pepsi phones you and says, hey, we'd love to work with you. You would have to tell Pepsi, listen, I've just shot for Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola might say, look, you can't shoot for anyone else. You need to make sure that you've read that contract. They would say, listen, we're going to use you for the next 1, 2, or 3 jobs, or 1, 2, or 3 years. And that may be a conflict, or it definitely is a conflict. So that is something that you'd have to be upfront about. On the flip side, if a company hires you and maybe they aren't the pinnacle of who you want to work for, but you know that taking on that work is going to limit you from gaining future work, that's another hard pass. So be mindful of conflicts of interest around brand work specifically. Trust your guts on the brief. If something feels off, or if there's too much uncertainty, or if the scope seems a little bit vague, don't ignore it. It's definitely better to address potential issues up front than have to deal with these issues down the line once the project's already started, and it may actually be too late. Number 9, this is a good one. Is there a cancellation policy? Is there a kill fee? What happens if now you've started the job? Maybe you're in pre-production 2-3 days in, or you've actually shot the work and then the job gets cancelled. Are you still going to get paid? So that is something that 100% needs to be in your negotiation, in your contract. It can happen that that job never flights, and now you've done all that work, and they're like, oh, well, we didn't use the work, so you're not going to get paid. Lastly, number 10, pause before saying yes. Now, I know it's hard. Again, this might come down to, is this going to be a nice financial reward, or does this align with your creative goals? Just take a moment, take a beat, think it over, and make sure that it aligns with all your goals across the board. Trust me, this will save you plenty of headaches. There you have it, my top 10 tips. By hopefully following these guidelines, you'll avoid any red flag clients, avoid headaches down the line, and make sure the work that you do take on aligns with your financial as well as creative goals. If you like this video, please do give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment in the comment section below. I always love hearing from you. I will do my best to answer to the best of my ability. Don't forget to subscribe, obviously, and I'll see you in the next video.